Hi, this is Hart of ElimCounselling Services, and today I'd like to speak about the differences between love and lust. There are some similarities between the two, but there is a world of differences. Lust is primarily concerned with sexual drives and sexual desires, whereas love has the other person's interest at heart. In the book of Genesis chapter 34, we see an example of lust in the rape of Dinah, Jacob's daughter. The person who raped her wasn't interested in her well-being. It was about his sexual desires and his needs instead of about her as a person. The second difference between love and lust is that lust leads to irrational short-term decision. Psychologist Mary C. Lama says that when we are involved in lust, we disengage the rational part of our brain, and that leads us to make a decision that we think is good in the moment, but we live to later regret it. So for example, you see someone at the club, and in that setting, this person seems like someone you would like to spend the rest of your life with, after a few drinks, of course, and you end up going to bed with that person that night because of lust. You wake up the next morning when the rational part of your brain kicks in, and you say to yourself, what am I doing in this stranger's house? As far as you know, this person could have been a serial killer. But as far as you're concerned, in the moment of lust, this was the best decision that you could think of. The third difference between love and lust is that lust often leads to possessiveness and obsession. 1 million American women each year is harassed and followed by their ex-lover or partner. However, we see that if a person is truly in love, there is not this obsession or possessiveness after a relationship breaks up, because the person who is in love with you will think about what's best for you. And just in case you're thinking that it's only women who are guilty, only men who are guilty of obsession and possessiveness, 370,000 American men are harassed and followed and stalked by their ex-lovers as well. The fourth difference between love and lust is that lust can quickly turn to hate after the sexual desires are fulfilled. It's about that time after an orgasm or a night of pleasure that the rational part of the brain kicks in. And so people who think they were so madly in love before the sexual act suddenly says to themselves, what is this that I have done? And reality kicks in. We see an example of this in 2 Samuel chapter 13 in the rape of Tamar. After Amnon raped Tamar, the Bible tells us that he hated her, and that the hate that he had for her was stronger than the quote-unquote love that he had for her before the sexual act. The fifth difference between love and lust is that lust often leads to self-sabotage and negative long-term consequences, whereas love, on the other hand, will lead to personal growth of both parties involved. If you're in a relationship and you feel that your goals are being stifled, or the other person is only interested in their well-being, it's quite possible that you are not in a love relationship, you're in a lust relationship. The sixth difference between love and lust is that lust often leads to mental illnesses and addiction, whereas love is good for your mental health. We see an example of that in the story that I told you about between Tamar and Amnon. When Amnon was first in love with Tamar and he realized that he couldn't have her, he could not have sex with her, the Bible tells us in the first two verses of chapter 13 that he became sick because of his desire for Tamar. And this is not surprising that lust is linked with with mental illnesses and addiction, because the same part of the brain that deals with impulse control also is involved with lust. Lust is the inability to control one's impulses once it is carried out. And so we find that people who are prone to lust are also prone to making other bad decisions in their life that leads to negative mental state. So there you have it, the 6 differences between love and lust. If you like this podcast, remember to subscribe, like, and share with others what you have heard on this channel. Thank you for listening, and may God bless you.